This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
Hello, everybody. This is Jenny. I'm the owner and the host of the Revival of America. We're going to get started here shortly, everybody. We're going to wait for a few more people to pop in, and then we'll wait for, of course, Shadow of Ezra. So please, everybody, I know many of you follow him. If you have questions for him, please feel free to request a mic, and I will unmute your mic. Typically, if you don't know how I do my podcast here, my podcast is a little bit different. So I typically have 90 minutes for my guest, max about 2 hours. So we're going to do about 90 minutes here for Shadow of Ezra and for him to talk to us a little bit about his journey in this movement, because like I said, many of us do follow him. He puts out a lot of great information, and then you guys can come on in with your questions. So also, guys, I want to let you know where you can follow the podcast. We are being listened to in over 100 countries, so we are making some positive noise, everybody. I tell my audience all the time, stay out of the negative noise. I just got out of a space right now. They're yelling and screaming at each other, and they're calling each other names. Like, it's just horrible. So please, everybody, we have a lot of great things happening. Stay focused on the positive, stay out of the noise. But you can follow the podcast if you come in late to this podcast, or if you just want to share it. You can follow us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Podbean, Riverside, Amazon Music. And then also, too, I post them on all my social medias, so you guys can check them out over there as well. All of my social medias are verified, so you guys know those are my legitimate accounts, because unfortunately, we all seem to have these imposters. So the three that are not verified yet are True Social, TikTok, and YouTube. But you can go follow the others. I mean, follow them all. They're going to get verified. It's just a matter of time. It takes a little bit. But follow Jenny Jareed on Facebook at Jenny _ right here on X at J Jareed Rumble, at J Jareed Instagram, at J Jareed True Social, the Revival of America on Telegram, where I do a lot of my lives with my guests as well. And then the Revival of America on YouTube. That's the latest and the newest social media. And also, everybody, it's about your guys' voices. So you're not going to hear a lot of me talking. You're going to hear my guest, and we're going to hear you as the audience ask the guest the questions you may have for them. So with that, everybody, I would like to welcome Shadow of Ezra to the stage. How are you, my friend?
Thank you very much for having me. How's everybody doing?
Doing great. I'm so honored to have you. It was cool. I popped into space. I think it was last week or maybe the week before. You were in there, and great information you're posting, my friend. And I understand that you're under fire because you're over the target, my.
Yeah, it feels like a second job being over the target, and I hate that. That's taking up a lot of my hours right now. It really sucks because I really like to read and like look up things before, like when the news just happens. It's not just enough for me to just post the news. If something correlates before or something correlates after, I like to put things together. But because I've been dealing with this annoying stalker who has multiple community notes accounts, and he's been like just targeting my account for like a couple of months now, consistently. Like he'll write something like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I'll have to get up and try to write something back. And he uses sources from like 2023, while my story is from 2025. I'm like, why are these people so dishonest? Like, why are you doing this? It's just that's been taking up a lot of my time. I wish it was back to April 1st. Before April 1st, everything was okay. Like I was able to just research, keep up with the news, and just I gotta be honest, a lot of that has slowed me down, which sucks. I hate that.
So do you have an idea who this person is that's
I,
doing this?
I have a great idea, but we're not allowed to dox anybody on X because it's against the policy.
Yeah, no, no. I would never do that. I'm not about that, either. So because that doxing thing is scary. I know many people, unfortunately, that's had that done to them, or you hear it being talked about on X. So yeah, everybody. That's why also too, I tell my audience, everybody, be careful who you listen to, who you follow, and what you're putting in your mind, because there's a lot of scary stuff that's going on. Within different chats and platforms. From the doxing to just the infighting, the infiltration, the disruptiveness from trolls and shills, whatever it is. So everybody, you just got to tighten up your space. If you have 3 to 5 people that haven't led you wrong in this movement, they're more than likely going to get you over that hump. Tighten up that circle, everybody, because it's time really to pick a side. So tell us a little bit, Shadow of Ezra. I want to, I followed you for since the beginning of my journey, and I want to know kind of how you got involved in it, because you do post such great stuff. You don't necessarily go on different podcasts from what I'm seeing, correct? I mean, you kind of pop in here and there, but not so much going on to different podcasts.
No,
Or do you?
no, I haven't. I haven't done any podcasts, but sometimes people will just message me and be like, "Join my spaces," and I don't really like to say no, but so they've been doing that a lot. So I've been doing a few spaces about
Well, I
Pizzagate,
love
and
that.
yeah.
I love that you're coming out and showing your, sharing your voice and your journey, because it's like I tell my audience, it's everybody's story journey that's going to help shape this new world that we're coming into. So, why don't you give everybody a little bit of a background on you, and then we can open up for some questions, and we can even talk about some of the stuff that's going on in the world right now, as we're seeing this Epstein case with Dan Bongino and Cash. Like people are losing their minds about what they've come out and said, and of course, Trump's over there posting, all roads lead to Obama. But yeah, give us a little bit of background on you, and then we'll go into some questions.
So basically, about me is I'll tell you guys from the very beginning. I've always been into like I guess we could call it conspiracies, which is not really a conspiracy anymore. I've always been like looking into things. I was really in 2010, 2012, around or 2008, one of those years. I was looking up the music industry a lot because back then YouTube's algorithm was so different than what it is today. So you could see like a lot of like Illuminati related stuff. I'm like, whoa, this is really crazy. Like I had always heard about this, but I didn't know it was this deep. So I just started watching a lot of videos, and then I tried to make sure that the stuff that I'm reading on the computer is actually accurate, and most of it was. I actually saw this old documentary in 2008. I forgot what it was called, but that was one of the big pills for me. It was like it showed like the vaccine industry, it showed like what Israel's up to. It connected so many dots. I don't remember the name of the documentary. It was from 2008, and we're in 2025, 17 years, guys. But yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's crazy. So that documentary really woke me up. It was just one of those YouTube very simple documentary, just information, and just it would use like it would show clips from different movies to explain like situations. Like it would show a lot of Lord of the Rings stuff. It would show like videos from like the movie Blood Diamond with Leonardo DiCaprio and stuff, just for illustration, not for the movie purposes, but it would just show, and while it would explain things of how natural resources are stolen, and like how Pfizer and Moderna were with the vaccines and stuff, which back then I didn't. In 2008, I was a boy back then. I was a very young person, and when I think about it, I'm like, wow, I can't believe how a lot of those things were accurate. I don't even want to ruin the rest of the documentary for you guys. You'll have to stay tuned. You'll have to keep following me. It might cause disagreements, but I'm just saying. I'm not saying that documentary is 100% accurate, but I'm saying like a lot of it has been like, whoa, this warned me like advanced. That's why I never took the vaccine in 2020, 2021, is because I remembered what I saw in 2008. I'm like, I'm not a scientist or a researcher, but I mean, I know when something like Bill Gates is out and endorsing, I'm not gonna follow that. That's like common sense, right? You don't have to be a scientist to figure that out. I mean, he's literally a child rapist.
Yeah, yeah. Was it? No, it wasn't Out of the Shadows. I'm trying to figure out because there's been a lot of these documentaries. Like Liz Cochran has done some, and then you have Out of the Shadows, which is really good if you guys haven't seen that. And then you have all those short little not clips, or maybe about 30-40 minutes long. But what are your thoughts? Did you ever get into the Q movement? Because that's a big talk right now on X. I notice it's a big topic right now.
Of course, there's a lot of things. No, there's not one movement you can't learn anything from. If it wasn't for the Q movement, I would have never have known how much child sex trafficking is a problem. I didn't know until 2020 myself when I watched Out of Shadows, because when I used to look at the news from two things, the news really misguided me on: Bitcoin and Pizzagate in 2016, 18. When I used to hear about those two things, I used to just blank my mind, because every time I heard the word Bitcoin, they used to just say it's a scam, it's a scam. So as much as I didn't trust the media back then, I still was like, okay, so it's a scam. And with Pizzagate, I just didn't understand in 2016, 2018, like what the hell that was. I thought it was something like, I thought it was just a random shooting at a pizzeria. Like I didn't even know anything. I didn't even know that much. But when I was at home, stuck at home with the pandemic, I saw Out of Shadows. Then I made a Telegram. I started looking up other documentaries. Then I started going into the James Alfonso's Instagram, looking at the pictures, studying the pictures, where they're from, with the kill room, with the weird pizza nude babies. It was just sick. It was, obviously, I'm sure a lot of people here have seen it, demonic stuff. Like it's just incredible how this. And then I started reading the emails with the Obama, and then later on the FBI would say yes, cheese pizza is a coded word for pedophilia and other words. So everything started coming together, and I started taking child sex trafficking the most serious. Like I said in the last area, I was like I said in the last podcast I was in, or the last spaces, that child sex trafficking connects everything, whether it's the inhumane wars that we're in, whether it's natural disasters, or any other type of event, or look at the border, all of those things. Every single every single problem always creates a opportunity for child sex trafficking or organ harvesting. Look at Ukraine. Like I'm sure a lot of us know about that. Like all of these are not coincidence. Every single one of them have that in common, is they always prey upon the kids. And that's one of my, like, if there's a story that I had to choose, like, to talk about every day, it would be child sex trafficking, like every day. But unfortunately, it's not in the news every day. You guys know what I mean? Like, not every day has somebody like Diddy getting arrested, or right now is a trial going on, so there's a lot of stuff developing. But that's a thing that I feel like has united our country. So that's a really big positive thing from the Q movement. But just like any other movement, the Q movement is not free of criticism. Here's the thing with the Q movement: 2016 and 2020, right, was the everybody's like worried, is Joe Biden the president, is Trump coming back? Right now it's 2025. There's no waiting. We have to start acting, or at least speaking. I'm not saying commit violence. I'm saying this is the opportunity where we have the president we wanted, so we should hold him accountable for it. If there's something you don't like, if there's something he doesn't say that you don't agree with, he's the only president in modern time that I can think of that actually responds to people on Twitter and Truth Social. He posts you. You have an opportunity. It doesn't matter what you have; it's what you say, and everybody has an equal chance in being heard by him. So if there's something you disagree with, speak up, speak up, speak up about it. Like I didn't agree with the way Cash Patel and Dan Bongino answered about the Epstein suicide and the assassination answer that they gave Trump. Now that doesn't mean that I dislike them. I'm just saying this is not right, because if that was me in that situation with Epstein, there are 100 ways I could have answered that question without saying Epstein killed himself. I could have just said the previous administration left this report. However, we're going to do our own study and we'll get back to you. You don't have to just say I read the entire document, or I looked at the document and there's Epstein killed himself, because we're not stupid like that. That's one topic that will get people fired up, is the Epstein thing and the child sex trafficking. So I feel like I was a little upset by that. Now, I'm not saying it's the end of the world. I'm not gonna go and hide in my closet and just be like the world is over, because we still have our voices, we still have our unity, we can still speak out. It's not like things can't be reversed, just because, look, these people are in official positions now. I understand that, but just because they said something today doesn't mean they can't reverse their path tomorrow. But that's gonna be up to us, like all of us, not just one person with followings with a large amount of following. It's just you just gotta hold people's feet to the fire. You don't have to hate them. You just gotta be balanced. That's it. It's very simple. Don't create like these gangs that I'm part of this, I'm part of that. You can talk to both sides or whatever multiple sides there are and still get your point across and just help make everything correct.
I agree with you. Now, let me ask you this, since we're talking about it, real quickly. I'm going to make a statement on Q. So, would you agree with me, Shadow of Ezra, that Q, in my opinion, this is what I believe that Q. I mean, I've not been that decoder of Q or go and read the Q post. I'm not. It's a great it's a great part of this movement, right? Because I believe it gives you crumbs to go become a researcher, you're a self thinker, and to use your discernment. I do believe it is a map to what's happened, where we're going, and all that kind of stuff. So, would you agree with that in regards to giving us, nuggets to go and be that researcher and self thinker to try to figure out where this is going?
Yeah, I've always stated that the Q thing has always been a good thing. If it wasn't for the Q thing, I would have not have known about child sex trafficking the way it was. Now, as far as the breadcrumbs part goes, that's all up to then that becomes like I'm not saying it's like a religion, but it can kind of be it depends on a person's perspective because everybody's decoding things a certain way, and if you disagree with this person's decoding, it's like turning into like a religion where it's like what did this phrase mean, what did that. So I stay away from that much. But when Trump posts something like with the Q and stuff, then I'm like that kind of he's kind of telling you something there, right? When he posted the pictures the other day with the all roads lead to Obama for the second time, and then Obama was mentioned in the Diddy trial today. I mean, those are pretty big gigantic coincidences. So let's see what happens. All we got to do is just wait and see. We can't just skip the future and be like, I know this is gonna happen for sure because I've done that before. I'll be like, oh, I'm so sure this is gonna happen, and then it didn't happen, and I was let down. So I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just taking things as they come, and I would advise everybody to do it the same way. Like
I love it.
you'll feel less stressful and you'll feel much happy. You can go about your day and you can still be yourself. Just don't expect this thing. Like don't predict dates and be like, this is gonna happen on this day. And when it doesn't happen, you'll be upset. And when you're upset, you're gonna be mad at everybody. You're gonna be like, oh, everybody lied to me. And then you're gonna become your own little angry gang. So things come and go. Everything I feel like overall things are headed towards a more positive way. I'm not gonna be a negative person, but we have to demand more. There's a lot more that needs to be done.
Amen, amen. And everybody, Q is a thing. So if you're not, paying attention to that, I get it. It's a little bit of a, it's kind of a decoding situation, but it is a thing, everybody, and it's been a great thing for many people within the movement, and myself included. I look at the posts and stuff but I mean, I don't go to the website every day. If it gets posts, I look at it, but I'm not that whole decoder person. But so going back to Epstein, we're talking about Epstein and how Bongino and Cash came out and said what they said about that he committed suicide. Do you also maybe possibly think that this could be, obviously, because in their situations, we're in war, right? You got to look weak when you're strong, right?
Yep. Art of war.
And yeah, art of war, and they're not going to give our enemy the next move. So maybe they're kind of going along with the narrative right now, and like you said, they could change their stance tomorrow or the next day. So I have a feeling they're just kind of going right along with it right now. But I think there might be something bigger to that whole thing of them coming out and saying that, yeah, he committed. I saw the file. He committed suicide. What are your thoughts on that?
One. This is just an opinion, so don't take this as a fact. So we're just speculating here, and I can make mistakes just like everybody else in this room. So they could be doing that just to see how you guys all react to it. So I'm pretty sure they saw all the disappointing comments and see the negative reaction. So, sometimes when you're in a position of power, you need to hear reinforcements too. You need to hear back some sort of criticism. If your own fans and followers and people who voted you in or supported you say that to you, it might change their mind later on. But we don't know exactly what's going on in the back of the scenes. But if you guys have noticed, there's been a lot of like mainstream, like even if you guys look at Benny Johnson now, they're talking about Mossad in Israel. So that tells you what big steps we've taken. That never happened before. And they're talking about Pizzagate on that show and stuff. Like he has like 4 or 5 million followers and a big podcast. So like it's going mainstream, guys. So buckle up and just hold your ground because we've been here since the beginning. I'm not saying I was the first one, but I'm saying I've been here for a while now. and there was people before me, and there will be people after me. But we're getting there. At least we know that something good is happening. We're going in the right direction. It might not be as fast as we want, but everybody in their soul can feel something happening. Like there's a shift in this planet. Like the entire planet, you can just feel it. It's like a spiritual shift where everybody's just trying to go from a complete negative way where we were under the Obamas and the Biden era to like Trump, where it's a little bit more like we're more like on the offense. We need to go more on the offense and just solving problems and just consistently. The main thing I will say this 100 times is stick together and stop fighting over dumb stuff. I will say this 1,000 times. Stop fighting over trivial issues. Like I see it all. That is the dumbest thing that divides us. Like if you feel like you're mad at somebody, just think about the children. Like that's what unites everybody. If you're upset about it at another influencer, just look at him and be like, you know what? At least we agree with child sex trafficking, and that's the most important thing, because that's what connects all these problems. So just that's what I do. Sometimes I get mad too. I'm a human being. I'd be like, oh, why did this guy say it like this? But I don't show that. I don't go and attack people. I don't do that anymore. I stopped completely. We don't have time for that.
Amen.
You,
Amen. A lot of this infighting. Hang on a second, Bobo. Did you have a question for Shadow of Ezra?
I wanted to know if I can add on to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Cool. I think everybody greatly underestimates the timing of everything. If Q were to release everything, let's say the entire Epstein list, everything all at once, you can't do that unless they are ready for the arrests. Because what will happen is the people are going to create local militia groups. There's going to be warlords that are going to want to carry out assassinations on these people. That would create a very chaotic society, and you can't just rush society into that at the wrong time. You have to be very diligent and very careful with what you choose to awaken people with. You could give them crumbs, but if you go mainstream and all Looney Tunes all at once, when you're not ready to for the world to discern this information all at the right time, you can completely destroy and deal more damage to society than actually fix it. You can actually lead the the deep state on to a good thing. You could collapse society way too soon. Now, I have been following Q since it has come out, and I have been, getting impatient over the years. I've prepped, I've done my due diligence, I've done whatever I could possibly do. I've prepared my family and whatnot, and it's a great patience game, but it's outside our time.
100% agree with what you said. That was a lot of good points that he made in terms of giving breadcrumbs slowly so that people just, we can't just be like, I mean, what if Trump just has an emergency broadcast and be like, okay, guys, Bill Gates, Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Kevin Spacey, and all these actors, we're going to arrest all of them at once, and we're going to take them all into a detention center, and we're going to execute them. Now think about, for us that'll sound great, but there's a whole side of the country that doesn't believe that. And how do you think they're gonna react? Not just regular people. I'm talking about like local police departments and other like states that are just not gonna just go along with that. So I get it, it's slowly, but the thing is though, people are getting anxious is because this is Trump's he has 3.5 years. So we want to see something major happen. We're like sick of waiting. It's been since 2016. It's been 9 years now. So like we just want something big at least once. Like yesterday with Alina Habba, where she had the charges dropped against the Democrat who was trespassing in the Gitmo, not Gitmo, I say Gitmo. I want them to go to Gitmo in the
Ice.
ICE facility. So I didn't. I think stuff like that kind of doesn't, But I don't know the situation behind that. But I'm just saying, like, you should stick to what you do. She was charged, the Democrat woman, and you should charge her for that. There should be just like if that was the other side and the Democrats were in charge, I'm pretty sure they would have never let go. That's the kind of stuff that kind of like makes me get mad a little bit. But we'll see what happens. Still gotta stay positive no matter what.
Amen to that. I love that. Stay positive, right? Because there is a lot of great things happening. Everybody, people tend to hang on to the negative, like, this Dan Bongino and Cash thing. People are like, just they're upset about it right now, and this just happened. So I think before people go in and start dissecting it, you got to kind of look at it for what it is. We are at war. We're not going to give our enemy the next move, and you got to look weak when you're the strongest. So, all right, Mary Elizabeth, go ahead. Did you have a question for Shadow of Ezra?
Hey, yeah, thanks, Jen, for hosting this space. And Shadow, I mean, what great work you've done. I am a survivor. I have, been awake since about 2008. I've been poisoned. I've been trafficked. I worked in Hollywood. I volunteered at the border. I've been boots on the ground for a long, long time. And now, because of the poisoning, I'm in the end stages of renal failure. So it's hard for me to jump on spaces and talk. But Shadow brings up so many good points. He always has. He's always done such excellent work for all of us. And, speaking from the survivors and our network, we're not allowed to talk, okay? Trump will give us the nod when it's time to unleash the dogs. Little by slow, people are getting their stories out. America, honestly, post and scroll, post and scroll, post and scroll. And it's very, very hard for us to keep the faith and stay alive. We are under constant attack. Our children, our families, the satanic ritual abuse is real. I worked for Don Johnson, Hunter S. Thompson. Hello. I was Dakota Johnson, 50 Sage of Butt Plugs nanny. I've had fights with Schwarzenegger. I've been across this country and around the world, and it's legit. And people that are still wondering, like, is this real? Like, how much more do you need? Like, we're screaming, Uncle, Uncle, help us. Help us. I don't want anyone's cup of coffee. I was able to escape a few years ago from a coma, and I've been, traveling for about 5 years in the streets, working with people, fentanyl, the children at the border. We have so much audio and video that we can't release. I've been in 6 jail cells on freedom of speech. I was incarcerated most for 9 months. I turned myself in Fulton County. I went down there to support Trump, of course, with my friend Lord Loomer, and Marjorie Taylor Greene just dissed us. But we had a great day. I've housed people that are running from the FBI. I've been left naked in a jail cell in a men's correctional facility in Tucson. It's powerful what is happening, and the people that are questioning it. Really, I mean, it's kind of too late in the game to be questioning that. And Shadow was on a space last week where it's like, this is the psyop right now, like to divide us. Because if we're all questioning and fighting each other over stupid shit, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. And we all do need to stay prayed up, that we need to stay with communication as much as we possibly can. I'm highly targeted electronically. It's sick. It's sick what they do, and it's legit. And can say, speaking for our survivor community, my tag is Hollywood to the hood. I don't need followers. I don't. It's not about that. I already was the most popular girl. Don't need it. What we need is information, and stop just like being afraid of reposting when they're dropping stuff. This is a digital war. It is also boots on the ground. Trump is the master, and he has been trained in so many things that it would blow people's minds. And don't fight with people. I don't fight with people. I've infiltrated Black Lives Matter. I've sat with some of these big dogs on all these channels. Buy me a cup of coffee. Shut the fuck up with that shit. Okay, I don't want your fucking coffee. None of us do. What we want is justice. What we want is freedom. I've been fighting since 1978, and I love every single one of you that is on here. And my message has always been, just ask what you can do. And if you can't, like, get out there and be boots on the ground, so what? Make a meatloaf. Send someone that's posting and working. And look at Shadow, how consistent he has been through our entire movement. We love him. We love him. Thank you so much.
Wow, I'm overwhelmed. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Like I try to just base my stuff off of what. Well, I don't like to. I've said this in my other spaces that I don't like to just post breaking news. This is what's happening, or like there's like 10 other channels that will post like, oh look, Donald Trump just got in an airplane or something. Like I like to keep my stuff more interesting or something if it's like major or something big or important. Like I'm very like I can post 50 times a day and get paid so much money on X. But if you go on my page right now, all of your and you'll see I only post like 4, 5, 6 times a day. I don't think it goes beyond that. Like there are people that are posting every 15 minutes. Now, if something is going on in the news, then yeah, I'll post every hour, like something that happened, this happened. Sometimes, you have a school shooting and then a random airplane crashes. Like during the Biden administration, I don't know if you guys remember, it was, you guys maybe don't remember, forget the COVID-19 stuff and the mandates and the vaccines. Does everybody remember all those trains derailments, the food processing plants blowing up, and like obviously the East Palestine, Ohio situation? Like there was so much chaos going on during the Biden administration. Like there was like a false flag every other week or news
Right.
psyop. So with Trump, it's not like that anymore. With Trump, it's more like we're just like we're just like trying to contain all those things and just like make sure that they don't happen again, or put good people in those positions to prevent something like that. That's why the news has been a little slow lately. It's not like things are blowing up like the Biden administration or vaccine mandates, or like, you know what I mean? We're just in a different phase. We're in a, like she said, it's the silent war, but I feel like the silent war is not always going to be silent anymore, and it's slowly gonna just be in your face, and that's what's happening. So we just gotta just keep what we believe in and just hold on to those positions.
Amen.
Thank you, Shadow Ezra, and thank you, Mary Elizabeth, for coming up and sharing your story, because it's people like you with your stories that are going to help shape this new world that we're coming into. So thank you so much. I would love to get you on my podcast so you could further describe your situation. If that's of interest of
Yeah.
you,
So
please
I mean, I talk to
reach out to me.
anyone. I talk to anyone. I've been on a few spaces. I have to be kind of careful about some of the things that I say because I have gag orders. I have prison terms that I'm facing if I fuck up and overshare. I am very sick. I am healing. God has sent me a healer right here in my swimming pool, which is amazing. And as I continue to heal from this and not doing death and dialysis. Don't want a kidney transplant. I'm fighting as much as I can every day, and it kills me that I'm not in the street, that I'm not in the street, that I'm not loving on everybody. And I know everybody in this movement. I've been around for a long, long time. But it's not about me. It's about all of us and the survivors. We really need a platform where America is listening to us because we want you to understand that this is real. My friends are real. Trafficking and selling of our children to my friend. Liz, her daughter, was sold to Scientology to Tom Cruise. It's a lot. Our group is a lot. And we are working and we are taking judges out. We are doing what we can behind the scenes. There's a lot of strong fighters. There's a lot of great gals and guys. Child Protective Service, Megan Walsh is a good friend of mine. It's a lot. It's true. It's true. It's we're not fodder, and we love you, and we need you, and really, where we go one, we go all. Thank you so much for having me, Jen, and God bless you, Shadow.
God bless you, Mary Elizabeth. Thank you so much for coming up. All right, Prometheus, your hand is raised. Go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. And then Chewy888, you can go after Prometheus.
Hey Jenny, thank you for being such a patriot of humanity. And Shadow, bro, it is always an honor and a pleasure to share the stage with you. Thank you for your incredible courage and your outspoken nature. And I'm seeing all of this from a biblical perspective as well. I know a lot of you guys are fellow believers in the faith alongside me, and I don't think it's an accident. You have the name Ezra, my friend, right? And the great prophet. I don't know if you've ever read the second book of Esdras, but it's not included in most Bibles. But there's some epic prophetic statements that were made, especially about the end times. And I don't know if this is an appropriate time, so I can probably hold this off for later. But there's literally a passage about the United States. People ask, "Oh, where's United States in the Bible?" Ladies and gentlemen, you are in the Bible. Okay, you're described in Second Esdras as the vision of the great eagle. You start off with 3 heads and 12 wings. Okay, how many colony, like how many initial states were there, right? It was just a handful of, it was 12 states, and it was, the legislative, the judiciary, and the executive branch. So 3 heads. That's the first line of the second Ezra's prophecy, and it goes in to describe, all of America's history. That it's a great bird that stretches across the whole world, and eventually the right wing devours the left wing, and we're literally seeing that. That's the last bit of that little bit of prophecy, but there's so much more I can go into. I'd love to whenever at some point in tonight's discussion you guys want to go a bit more biblical. I'm here in the United Kingdom. We're fighting the same global pedophile elites you guys are. This is a global problem. This is way bigger than just the United States. The shadow, the deep state, we have to destroy it everywhere. Okay. And prophecy does say that, it'll take a shot in the head before it recovers. The recovery, and I'll land with this, the recovery, I believe, is during the tribulation period, when the church and the body of Christ will no longer be here. Up prior to that moment, we're told, do not be afraid, and get excited, because your salvation draweth nigh. Okay. Matthew 17:11, there will be Elijah will come and will restore all things. It's not just one man, but the whole body of Christ together. We will restore our world to a epic level prior to the church's exit up to heaven. So just wanted to bring in a little biblical perspective here. I do believe that we win this war with God. Without God, I don't think we would have stood a chance against this profoundly evil enemy. I don't need to tell you guys that they pulled off 9/11, COVID, the great COVID genocide that we all lived through. And they're going to attack again, but this time we have one another. Okay. And with that, I'll land for now, and I can't wait for where this conversation goes tonight.
Thank you, Prometheus. Shadow of Ezra, did you want to respond to anything on that?
Yeah, as for the religious aspect, I think if it works for you, go for it. Me, I keep it very simple. My belief is very simple. I think Jesus is gonna come back, he's gonna kill the Antichrist, and he's gonna destroy the New World Order once and for all. Those are my three things, and I keep it very simple.
And I love that about you, Shadow of Ezra. You do. I've listened to you, and I see your posts. You do. You keep it very simple. So thank you for that, because sometimes it gets so convoluted, and there's just so much of the division and all the infighting and shit. So, and I don't deal with that stuff. So I'll listen to it just so I can let my audience know, like, hey, this is going on. Be careful. But yeah, thank you for that. I keep it simple, right? What is it? Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah,
No offense to anybody, but that's the phrase, right?
yeah, because we don't know the situation that's gonna lead up to those events, but as people of faith, we know what's gonna happen at the end. So you're gonna win in the end. So why fight just for the middle? Like, it doesn't matter. We know there's gonna be problems and stuff and plagues and whatever it is. We just gotta go through with it. But we know the ending. Gonna come back, gonna kill the Antichrist, and destroy the New World Order once and for all. And there will be peace, and that's it. We don't know if we're gonna be here when that happens. Nobody knows that. Nobody's guaranteed tomorrow, but we're guaranteed today. We're here right now, so we're making the most of it.
Amen. Thank you to that. And I would like to welcome to the stage Santino. Hello, Santino. And then Alpha Warriors in the house, everybody. He will be on my show tomorrow here on X at 2 p.m. our time, Pacific Standard Time. These time zones kill me, I'm telling you. But okay, so let's see. We've got who's next? I think it was, let me see. Oh, wait, Chewy, or was it Chew 88? You're next. Where are you still here? I don't see him. All right, X-Men Patriot. Did you have a question for Shadow of Ezra? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, thank you. First of all, I just hooked up a mic. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, just checking. Shadow. First of all, some of your insights are great. Some of your insights are off. I understand you're a human. Do you think you ever fed off of the name of the person who was in our defense department at one time?
Well, that is something people keep telling me. Like, I keep getting messages there. Somebody on YouTube keeps saying that it's not true. And there are like 100 telegrams that copy and paste my information, and they have that name.
Correct.
So you have to. My only accounts are on X Shadow of Ezra and Telegram Shadow of Ezra. Like, when I was in a Spaces last time, there was a there was somebody saying that I was in a Facebook with them. I don't have a Facebook on Telegram. It's only Shadow of Ezra. People take my stuff and they copy and paste it under a different name. So I there's like 100 of those. Telegram just doesn't want to help me with that. So And I'm not
Yeah,
technically,
yeah.
I'm not really a real person. I'm just an anonymous account, honestly. So they can't really be like you're like if I was like somebody like let me give you an example. Let's say if I was like Candace Owens, she's a recognizable public figure. I'm not a recognizable public figure. I'm just a guy with a skull face with the skull in my. So they can't really say that you're the real Shadow of Ezra. You know, you just so it's like you guys have to determine that. That's it. I can just tell you, but and that's some crazy stuff. No way. I've never said that stuff.
I've never seen anything that like would attack a certain name like that, and I was just curious of that broad question
No, I get
right
messages
there.
about that, and I tell them right away that's just not true.
Yeah, yeah, I thought it was. Um, when it comes to, I want to talk. I know we all want to see arrest and we all want to do that, but I'm kind of over it after like October 18th or whatever. Um, but the thing is, I want to talk about the money. How are we know that there's going to be a reset. There has to be a reset to get rid of the deep state controlling the money system. And if you don't think that, I, something's wrong with you. But when that reset comes and you listen to all the Trump comms and everything that's going on, how do you or anybody think that the new money system is going to come forth?
Well, if it was up to me, I wish it would be gold backed and tangible and worth something. But unfortunately, the age that we're living in. That's one of my red flags also for any president, including Trump, is that I'm just scared of. I know he said he would be against central bank digital currencies, but you can always redefine it into something else and still introduce it as that. So
Right.
that's my
Right.
biggest fear. Like I have to be honest with you guys. Like I can't just be like, hey guys, like what if I give you false hope and then that happens? The worst happens. I'll feel horrible. You know what I mean? So I gotta be up and upfront with you guys. Like that's a red flag for me when it comes to I'm glad you asked the question. So we just gotta not go into that digital stuff because with that they can shut you off, shut you down, control where you go. Like I don't want any type of social credit. Like that's the biggest red flags when it comes to digital currency or any form of that. They may not call it digital currency, but they can call it something else and still introduce it. So like I have my red flags and I'm just very like with the real ID stuff, I was always against that. I'm not in favor of real ID. I saw a video today of how they were mistreating people in the airport. Like they were swabbing their hands and stuff. Just like COVID. Like they're treating them completely different. Like they're
Exactly.
getting yeah, it's you're gonna see the videos because this is a new thing. People are just starting to record how they're being treated. You're gonna see in the next couple of weeks and months. It's gonna if I find a video of somebody, I will definitely post it and that's because it's that real ID stuff came from the the first the old George Bush era, where it was basically people from the Patriot Act who decided that under the
Right.
false
It,
sense of
it
national
equals
security.
the 8647, right? The other
That was
message.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
so I think the eyeball will be the only thing that will verify you. Um, but that's not me. It doesn't matter. But what I'm trying to say is like how because I'm like you. Like I feel like yeah, currency might be the way that we go. We understand, but I personally think it's just a personal bridge to transfer the wealth and then money gets printed again and it's treasury backed dollar bills. That's the only way that Trump survives. I mean, let's be honest. If it all digital, I think we will revolt. I personally do. I mean, yeah, we might go along with it. It'd be rah rah. A lot of blind people will just go with it and Trump and this and this. But if you don't have real money in any type of currency system, you don't have a system. That's just the
Ex-
way I think. Because if they shut the power down, you can't buy a loaf of bread. Anything without power, you have no power. But if you have these certain dollar bills like we do now that say debt on them, well, I think that
mhm,
will slowly be erased with treasury dollars like they used to be back in the day. Eventually, I think, just me, and it sounds crazy, but I think the money system transformation will come by a new, like the new dollar bill, the new $20 bill.
Which will be the treasury note.
Yes, exactly.
And then the real ID that you're talking about, I don't believe is going to happen. And Alpha can say something to this, and Santino, you as well. I wish I had Captain Kyle in here because he gives a good explanation of it. But I don't believe that real ID is going to happen in the way that that has been described for that social credit scoring dealio that China's been doing.
Right.
I believe that we are going to have it in a good way to help eliminate this corruption that they have done through the money laundering, through the crypto bullshit that they do. So I believe that it's going to be somehow, some way. I mean, if you think about it already, guys, we're already being tracked. Our phones, our credit cards. I mean, everything. We got that little square thing on our little credit cards that shows every purchase that we've done, and then we've got our cell phones, our computers. So I don't think the real ID, like it's being to put out there, the fear, right, is going to happen. I believe we are going to have some kind of digital that's going to benefit us, that it's going to have the blockchain on it, to where we crack down on all of this criminality and all these shysters out there, so they can track all this stuff so it doesn't happen again. Now, Alfred, you can correct me. Anybody, go ahead. Go ahead, Shadow of Ezra.
Here's my thing. Everybody is being tracked. 100% right. Everybody's phone is tracking them. You're fine. That's great and all. But here's what I want everybody to pay attention to. There is a difference between having your information stored in a private company than having it stored in a government database. Those are two very different things. You don't want to have your information stored in a government database because you don't know who's going to be that government tomorrow. So if you're thinking about just for today, then yeah, it makes, because Trump is a good person and all of us, so we're like, yeah, we trust him. But what about tomorrow or 4 years from now? We don't want our information in a government database. I know they have them, but once you willingly give it to them, then they don't need to have your consent for it too. Once you agree to this, and then it can also create pathways to more type of. That's where the red flags are. That's where the Thomas Massey versus Donald Trump debate comes in, and everybody gets a little emotional. But we got to look at the red flags on both sides and just think about what truly, like, they could literally just use driver's license for voting or have voting done with paper ballots. What happened to that? Paper ballot is still the most secure way to do an election, and most countries still do that.
Well,
and they count very fast.
Yeah, definitely. But take that driver's license thing that you just said. Now there's a strip on the back, right? There's a magnetic strip, and there's a code on the back that the police scan or anybody scans when they're checking your ID. And that, to me, like, we don't know what information is being brought upon us once that scan's happened. But I believe that if it is a true voter ID scan, like card, then that's all the information that it could pull up. Now, that might be hard to convince for people like us, but for the public, hey, this is just a voter ID card. It goes no further than this. I can see where the government can manipulate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was saying with the red flags. I don't trust government in having any of my information.
Right.
Now I know they have it, but they have it not willingly. There's a difference between like the NSA and CIA having your or the FBI having your stuff where they don't have it with your permission. That's different. They can't use that in a court of law. But once you consent and you agree to a system in place, then that's totally different. Then the books are turned against you. That's the issue with that's the way I'm looking at it.
All right. One
real quick.
One more last question, and I promise I'll stop. The common citizen amongst the registered system of your birth certificate and the money and NASRA and all that, like, do you think there'll ever be a separation between the two of those?
Wait, ask me again. Separation between the what?
All right. If you go to court, your name's in all capital letters, and you're sovereign citizen type argument is basically what I'm trying to get to. Do you think that argument will ever come to fruition?
Like, of us being a sovereign citizen?
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
I don't understand the question.
Well, okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. We're just talking.
Yeah, I'm a little advanced in my research. So what I'm saying is
That's okay.
people who go, like, I'm gonna break it down to the basic level. People who are driving, right? They're arguing now that you have to have a driver's license, and they're saying for commerce, and you're saying it's not for commerce. You're saying it's a right as a citizen to I can travel freely without a tag,
Yeah.
without license, without insurance, without. You see, this is the argument that are happening in the police field now that I've monitored. These are really big, and police have now came up with a system to deal with these certain people, right? Like they made a whole different like law and judgment. If you consider yourself a AKA quotes unquote sovereign citizen, then now you're trying to live by, like, I understand both sides, and I don't have a debate on both sides. I just curiously want to know, like, is that a real thing of a sovereign citizen living by just the.
I get what you're saying now. Now you just want to be free to travel. Yeah, you have that right. That is true. You have the free to travel anywhere you want. Nobody in position can stop you unless they have a reason to, a probable cause, or so you did something illegal and they're about to arrest you. Then you have the free to travel wherever the hell you want. Now the thing is with this, yeah, go on.
Well, I was going to say these freedoms have been tested out on YouTube and Facebook and all social media, right? And you can see certain people that win and most people lose because the cops understand, like, they already have a game plan, is what I'm trying to say. If you consider yourself, I'm not traveling, I'm, doing this or anything, they automatically go with the sovereign citizen thing. And the sovereign citizen thing, remember, it goes back to the postcard, the postmaster guy, whatever his name was. I mean, it goes way back. Like, it's two different sets of laws. You have marine and you have the land. Maybe I didn't say that correctly.
I've seen a lot of cases, but I haven't seen many that were successful.
I have seen some that are, and the some that are can use it just like a Supreme Court hearing. You see what I mean? Like, it could multiply or expand, I should say, into other laws. Now, I think most.
So real quick, hold on, X-Man, hold on, real quick. So,
Look
there's
me in
other
the eyes and tell me no lies. I can see into your soul.
Oh goodness
Take it.
gracious! Here we
Send
go.
me all your
Hey,
Bitcoin, all your loose change. Email it to me.
Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. Anyway, X-Men. That's like a whole different. That's a whole like space. So let me get to some of these other
No
hands
problem.
real quickly, and we can circle back to you because this whole sovereign citizen thing is a long dealio. So I wanted to ask Alpha. You've touched on this real ID. Do you want to maybe put your little opinion and thoughts in there regarding it for everybody to kind of understand that I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think you think it's going to happen the way they're portraying it out there.
Yeah, I have zero concern. Only given the current, because we have the current administration that we do, with them trying to weaponize the real ID through uh like a tyrannical surveillance state. The issue is we have a lot of states like the one that I live in, California, that have exploited legitimate government IDs like the driver's license to give illegals IDs. And we know that there's multiple motives for this, some of them to include the elections. But it also means that, when you have this new, federal buildings, and the real ID for flights, you're making it harder for people that have gotten official documentation in the United States, who are illegal. You're making it harder for them to get the access that they want to do things. So, in essence, you're creating a filter system to identify these people. Now, if it changes down the line, then we observe. But given the way they've deployed it and the way they've talked about deploying it, I don't have any concerns with it.
Thank you, Alpha. All right, Chewy 888. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead and ask Shadow of Ezra your question.
Thank you so much for putting this on. I don't know if you guys heard me earlier, but my phone was having problems. Sorry. Um, just real quick, I've got this person that's, just completely hounding me and just won't let it go, and says Trump is rebranding everything Biden did, and is is like we're all LARPing and all this stuff, and it's just annoying, but and it's sad. But what do you say to someone like that?
I have the perfect response, and I can't take the credit for it. This is what you write. You sound vaccinated. That's it. You win the argument every single time. And credit to Chris Paul. That's the guy that came up with that.
That's
And it
That,
funny.
just it drives people bananas when you say that.
that I
That
would,
sounds
I
great.
would, 4 years ago, I would have done that. My mentality has changed so much. Sorry, guys. That's not how I am nowadays. Instead of,
Or don't you have an appointment for your
no, I
booster?
would never I'm not vaccinated at all. But I would basically try to,
No,
unless, but
same
I
as a
understand why you would say
response.
that, because there's these lefties are lunatics. I understand what you guys mean. But once in a while, you may come across a lefty that actually wants to have a regular conversation with you. And it's not just like, have you guys seen those open answer questions with Charlie Kirk where a lot of them are just going crazy? Like those are people you can't really have a civil conversation with. But there's a lot of well-meaning left wing people who believe in government assistance for like social security and welfareism, which I'm against. But they're what unites us is one thing. It's we both sides do not want our country to go to war. It's that peace side that always is the common breaking bond between the left and the right. So that's something you can use as a bridge and then take that to wherever you want. I was speaking to somebody about like staying out of wars and stuff. He was lefty. He was a left wing guy, Pfizer vaccinated, wore his mask religiously, followed the 6 feet rule guidelines, but he voted for Joe Biden in 2020. Now he in 2024 he voted for Trump. Regrets his vaccine, does not wear his mask, and is like, why the hell was I keeping 6 feet away instead of 7 feet? He started questioning himself. So I kept that person around. I didn't completely cut off connections with them, even though 4 years ago he was like retarded. Like I could just be like, yo, this guy's like literally just a creation of his television. But today he's not that person anymore. Now I'm slowly starting to talk to him about how abortion is wrong and how he already knows the transgenderism and the women's sports. All these cultural issues that were just created under Obama and just intensified against us during the Biden administration. So like there's slowly it starts with the piece of war, and then you can slowly start explaining to them why abortion is wrong too. Because if you're somebody who doesn't want innocent people to die in war, you're gonna understand the conversation about abortion too. And now he's getting it. He had 2 kids. He's about to have a third one. He's understanding now. I didn't push him away completely by saying you sound vaccinated. I kept him at arm's length, not like a best friend, but like here and there, just stay cordial. And now he's not the same person as he was. I think that's a really good way to just be about things. And nobody's gonna agree with 100% of your beliefs. Like you're never gonna get that, but just one or two, and just try. And maybe you learn something from that person too. You never know.
Thank you. I'll give that a shot. That's great information. Thank you, Alpha. I think it was commented. Um, yeah, this is great stuff. Thank you guys for being knowledgeable about all this.
Thank you, Chew 888. All right, Mr. Santino, go ahead. I'm so sorry I did not see your hand up. Did you take it down or is it still up? Because I still don't see it.
No, I took it down.
Hey, I apologize. Just real quick, how does it work if I
Well,
can
I'm gonna
Okay,
change
go
my
first
hang on a
actually,
second. So
because you
yeah,
know
the
what?
co-host,
I've been leaving back
but
and forth. Go ahead.
yeah, Troy, you can go after Santino, but he's a co-host, so he's had his hand up. So go ahead, Santino, and then Troy, you can go after Santino.
Okay, apologize. I apologize for the interruption.
It's interesting because when you guys are talking about woke and what have you, I'm in a gym that's completely woke. I mean, there's just no soul here, no one's speaking. It's really irky. It's an atmosphere I've never been around in such a long time. I don't even think I've ever been around this large of a group of people that have no feelings. Anyway, moving forward, the Federal Reserve, that's a privately owned thing, right? So it's a corporation. We were born under a corporation. That has to be liquidated. It has to be destroyed for us in order to us to be free. When they talk about centralized banking, it goes even further. They want to know where you are at all times. That's why this debit card, this Visa, this MasterCard was introduced because you can see where you're shopping. They can see where you're buying. The chips are very interesting. When those chips were implemented, they were very minute, very minimal, but they've really advanced the AI on those chips so they can actually track you now. That's why they wanted to remove cash so quickly, so they have control over what you're spending. People who are not who are paying by cash, who don't pay taxes, what have you, they want to make sure you're paying your tax. I think that going to the new system, I mean, it's going to be much more of the golden age, the Jasara Nasara. I believe that we're going to be more free. We're going to have more control over our spending, our money, our sovereignty, what we own, all levels. When you look at the golden age, that phrase comes from Jazar Nasara. It's in Jazar Nasara. They speak about the golden age. That's why President Trump took that. When you look at all the things he's implementing right now in his journey, they're very similar to Jazar Nasara. So we were talking about the IRS and all these things, U.S. aid, getting rid of all the middleman. We always need a middleman to go from point A to point C. Why I'm saying C is because you have to go through point B. You have to get through point B to get to point C. And point B stops you from getting over there. You need to renew this license. You need to renew that license. You need to renew your insurance. You need to renew your license, your driver's license, your occupation license, like if you have a trade. If you don't pay me that money, I will not renew your license and you will not continue to practice your craft. That is the middleman. We need to get rid of the middleman so we're more independent. I mean, we do have to show that we have credibility, obviously. But you know what? They want someone in the between to pay them to make it. It's called lining their own pockets. When you have a mom and pop shop, you're a sole proprietor, you need a license for your signage outside. If it goes 5 centimeters off, even 1 centimeter, you have to pay extra monthly for that signage. Your sandwich board, you have to pay for that. You have to pay a business license. You have to pay for products to sell your products. There's so many things you have to pay. Those are the middlemen. Those are the ones taking those things. But as a being, I believe now, and I'm laying this plane, as a being, what President Trump wants to do is bring it back to the people, back to 1776, the original republic, where we are in control of our sovereignty, not somebody else that's higher up, not the Federal Reserve that is privately owned. It's not even governed. I mean, all the central banking, these banks were on our side, and now they're not. They want to find out where you're going, what you're buying, what you're spending it on. They want to know everything. And the next step is to control how much you spend. And that's where I take issue. I took issue a long time ago. But when you're going to tell me what I can't buy with my money, and you question how much I want to take out of my account, that's when I say we've got a serious issue here. And thank God for President Trump that he's standing in, he's taking that away. And today was amazing. Like today, Jenny, the medical thing that was phenomenal. So many Americans are going to other countries to get medical services, prescriptions because they can't afford the United States. Well, he's bringing it back to the country. Americans don't have to go anywhere to get these things done, and that's what we want. We want to bring it back to the home, back to America, make America strong again. So I just wanted to throw those things in about being an individual. So there you go.
Thank you, Cynthia. You want to say anything on that, Shadow of Ezra?
Yeah. As to the
And
Federal
nice to
Reserve.
meet you, Shadow.
Oh, nice to meet you too. As for the Federal Reserve, it's probably the biggest stain in our country, on our country, since the beginning of time. Since what 1913 now, it's been way over 100 years, and it's, a lot of people say it's time to end it. But when we end it, we don't want to replace it with something worse. We want to replace it with something that is actually real, something gold back and not back into this system. Like I'm like, what really scares me is like we don't talk about artificial intelligence and transhumanism is enough. That's the stuff that really scares me because they have these like robots and stuff that are ready to come out. That thing scares. I feel like that is the biggest red flag that nobody wants to talk about because everybody's taking it as a joke. It's like that stuff is scary. Like these robots are not a joke. I haven't talked about it in much like an extent, but I mean, all you guys gotta do is watch Terminator. That's literally history repeating, or even watch The Matrix. Like the AI and the robots are the biggest red flags because you're not even gonna need money anymore. They're just gonna do everything for you. That that's literally the real great replacement is the robots replacing you. Forget the race. Forget your race. It's the robots are coming to replace everybody. While you're fighting about if you're white or black or yellow or brown, they're coming to replace everybody. So that's the real red flag for me, which nobody really talks about because everybody's taking it as a joke. But for my prediction is shit is gonna hit the fans one day. By the time it does, we're gonna be like, oh man, we should have done something about it. But we were too busy with our memes and like being friendly about it, like, oh look, it's cute. But that's the way they introduce it to you through movies and stuff, is they want to make it fun and so it's like a mental it's like a psyop. It's like they want to make it like a normal thing to you. That's what they're doing, and it's working on everybody. When I scroll my Twitter feed and I see like people just like happy with AI and stuff, like with Grok, I wish I could just tweet stop using Grok. I wish people would just stop using Grok for everything because it's literally doing the job for you. Like you should be able to look up things for yourself and just know things about yourself or know what how to verify something without saying Grok, is this true? Like I don't agree with that at all. Like I'm very old school in that with my mindset.
Thank you, Shadow. Okay, Troy, go ahead. Your turn.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Blessings all around. I want to just get something straight when I say this. I do kind of have a question at the end, but I got to get this out real quick. Everything I'm telling you here is the truth. I'm not saying this to brag. It's just part of my experience and through this life. So I grew up, and as a small child, my dad was a uh, high up in a certain biker gang, and we'll just say that. My grandmother was, oh, I can't believe I'm saying this, and I got my first name on, on a profile, but it doesn't matter anyway. They're all dead. Um, so my grandmother worked at, she was at Wright Pat Air Force Base, where they brought the aliens back in the day, I guess, and whatever. And I had two grandfathers that were ex-CIA. My grandpa Mo was the one that I knew, and my other grandpa was her last one, and I believe he took her out. So she had eight husbands or so, and I think they were all government employees. My grandmother's. They mostly took care of us our whole life. I'd gotten into so much trouble and this and that, and I should have been in prison 15, 20 times over, but I ended up sometimes in a mental hospital. Things, just went certain ways, and I got out of it, and I'm not proud of that whatsoever. And it still kind of happens to this day, but that's besides the point. I grew up and seeing this world, and I stayed away from video games. I've literally seen. I don't know what your beliefs are on the evil and the other side and spiritual realm, but I've seen demons speak through people. I've seen demons walk around. I've seen spirits and this and that, and I've had like ones that follow me around. Luckily, it's been a couple years since we haven't had any experiences like of just things moving in my house, being thrown off a desk and stuff falling over, and multiple witnesses and experienced it since I was a child. And so here I am now, and I've gone and I've scrolled and scrolled and scrolled, and I've wanted to draw closer to God, and here I am to this day now. I'm still doing the scrolling, but I started one day. A spark came within me, and it said, "Get into the Bible, draw closer." And suddenly, I just started listening into it, to Proverbs over and over, to Psalms over and over in my earbuds. So neither here nor there. Here I am now, and if we're all expecting for this fix or whatever, as Shadow, as Ezra said, his only expectations is for Jesus to come back. I don't call him Jesus; I call him Yahusha. I'm going through something in my mind where I feel like this is like the devil came in and through another back door and is deceiving us with his name. His real name is Yahusha. They took it out of the Bible, Yahuwah and Yahusha out of the Bible over, I think it was 10,000 times or something when they reprinted it because they don't want us calling him by his name. So, but as he said, we can only expect for him to come back and defeat the Antichrist. And it's going to go that way no matter what. It's written, it's done, it's in stone, it's in our minds, it's in our souls, it's in this reality. Um, and that's what we can expect. You can't expect. I don't think this is just my opinion. I don't down anybody for their thoughts or anything like that because I've learned in life that the only way I can get along with a person by having a conversation is being open minded. Period. And if I don't like it and it doesn't strike me angry because I've had literally like multiple personalities almost my whole life, I've only gotten it under control now to where I can stay cool and stay within myself because I've had points where I would wake up in different places and I'd have 10 different beers open and then I'd come back and I'd say, hey guys, you mind if I join the party? And um, I don't think we're going to expect anything less from Trump. I think that this is going to be just, he's appeasing a certain crowd right now. And they're building it up even more for us to be against each other in the end. And I think we can expect a large event within the next year or so, between now and 2020, mid 2026, of long-term power outage, or of course a big disclosure where they're going to show us the aliens or whatever you want to call them. I think they're just interdimensional beings and demons, of course the fallen angels. And so now here I am.
And real quickly, Troy, this is where the people's discernment comes in, right? So,
Yes,
discernment is
exactly.
key right now, everybody. So that yes, the division and the infighting and all of the negative is gonna ramp up. So you need to prepare your mind for that. I tell my audience that all the time. So don't be surprised, but you need to kick in that discernment. So, do you want to? Did you want to ask Shadow of Ezra a question? Because there's a few other hands I need to get to. Because I
Yeah,
only do my spaces 90 minutes max 2 hours. I don't keep them open for 5 6 hours because that's where all the
okay.
trolls and stuff start coming in and getting disruptive. And I don't do drama. I don't do petty. So yeah, I shut them down pretty quickly. So yeah, go ahead with your question for Shadow.
Okay. Okay. So do you think it's worth it nowadays for a person to go out there and speak their truth or whatever? Because I know no matter what, if I'm saying something, it's something that I've seen, something that I can say, look this up or go find it yourself. I'm not into the whole editing thing or any of that anymore. I'd rather just speak my mind and just tell them, go look at it. If it spikes something in you, go look for it. Go look it up yourself. But here's what I see. Do you think it's worth it for me to even put myself out there? I mean, I was offered a long time ago to do my own show. Troy Wants to Know, Are You Deeper Than a Bathtub, with Roy Grooms from Moonshiners. And he died in the hospital and it never happened. So I thought, oh, maybe it wasn't my time or whatever. And I'm not in it for the money or fame now. I'm just in it to either put that spark in which I want to put the spark of light in somebody and I don't want to be a bad influence. So do you think it's worth it for me to even try anymore?
Good question, because I'm gonna answer this question the same way that I'm gonna answer it when I have kids one day. Is I'm always gonna tell my kids to go out there and speak your truth, but be smart about how you speak your truth. You're not gonna go out there and just start telling everybody out of nowhere like, "Hey, the government's trying to kill you," and there were dancing Israelis caught on 9/11. You don't start that way. You have to start slowly. What I do is personally, I start through economics. I explain to people why their currency is not real. From there, I see how they are, how they react to it. I give them a little bit more. But everybody, look, we all live in the United States of America. Money and the economy affects everybody. Like you can't just go up to a random person in Barnes and Noble and be like, "Did you know the government just trafficked 40,000? The Biden administration lost 300,000 children." While that is true, that is not a smart way to start a conversation because people are just gonna look at you like either you're recording a prank for YouTube or you're crazy because that's not
Yeah, don't go in them like Iraq
exactly.
shock and
No,
all. Yeah, I
you
get
start
that.
off very slowly. You just see who the person is. You always get a vibe when somebody's, you can always tell how somebody is just by their demeanor, by the words they use. So my answer to you is just the way I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell my kids when I have kids one day is to just be honest, but don't be stupid because you don't want to be put in a position where now you were trying to do something good, but now you're like in a twice worse situation than where you started. So now you're like working backwards. You know what I mean? You just want to be smart about what. Go slowly.
Yeah.
Start very slowly. Then like
Yeah.
my trick
Okay.
is
Thank you.
just
Oh,
when you're talking to somebody, act like they don't know anything and just speak to them like from scratch. And that's the best way. Just even in
great.
sports, just stick to the fundamentals.
Thank you, Shadow.
I'm gonna. I guess I'll try. So God
Okay.
bless you
God
guys.
bless
Thank you.
Troy. Good luck. You'll do fine. You'll do fine. All right, let's see. Frog Senior, US. Go ahead. Your mic is unmuted.
Hi, yeah, I just wanted to add to Ezra's comments. I started out gun ho back in 2015. My father was in the military for 25 years in the U.S. Navy as a radar specialist. He told me about Trump coming. He disclosed a lot of facts about what was going to happen in our country, how the military was pissed off with all these unneeded wars that we've been in. Disclosed to me a lot, but then wouldn't tell me a lot at the same time, almost like a Q post. Was kind of directing me toward the Q post, which I started learning about Q back in 2015 from him, but then started following the post. And I think that what we're seeing right now is disclosure. I think that it's a slow disclosure. It's coming out kind of like a, how would I say that? Like almost being disclosed spoon fed, but now it's flooding. Like it's coming into MSM now finally, which, back in 2020, I was waiting for disclosure on MSM. It wasn't coming yet. It was all, infighting and just, labeling us all conspiracy theories. I lost my family over the whole thing because I thought my wife was on board as a patriot with me, but then she used family court to attack me as a conspiracy theorist. Luckily, that didn't work in court, in family court. Tried to take my children from me, that didn't work. Um, I kind of won it by the fact that I said I shared articles with her through emails and that I wasn't opinionated. I was just a truth seeker and, just a collective person trying to gather information because I don't believe everything that I see. I have to dig. And I had a great following on TikTok. They cut me off there. I probably had 40,000 followers. Wow, just it was big. And then TikTok cut me off. And then I have two sons that are identical twins. They were in all this at the time I was married. And it was like Ezra was saying, you don't kind of bring it out like, the government's bad or anything, but you try to show them, what's going on economically. Like, Dad, why is things so expensive? So you try to kind of tell them, well, there's different presidents, there's different administrations, and this and that. And I've come to the point now where I think that mostly what we're seeing is the normies, so to speak, getting spoon-fed information as to what's going on. I think the Trump administration and Trump has been a very good example of what you can do locally. As General Flynn said, you got to live local. You got to get out in your local communities, and you got to raise a question about what's going on locally as well as what's going on globally, what's going on in the country as well. But I've more than I can say more now than ever. I've got friends questioning me, asking me, "How did you know this? How did you know these things were coming to pass?" And I just tell them, "Listen, you guys, you need to dig. Don't just take everything as fact right off the bat. You need to understand that we're in a psychological warfare, and there is people that are going to go and try to move you to the wrong side, or they're going to try to, disillusion you. And I think the greatest thing, like you talked about as the speaker, discernment. I've always been a follower of Jesus Christ, and I don't. With the person that spoke earlier, I disagree because he's been called many names, and I think that as long as you pray in the Spirit and you understand the red letters in the Bible, I think the rest of it is really irrelevant. It's just about your belief and your faith. It says in the Bible that you cannot please God without faith. It's not about our works, it's about our faith. But one thing that I do know about God is he doesn't like the children being attacked. And he has stated that many times in the Bible. And I believe that our children are our greatest future. And I think that Trump is trying to do something about that. I think our military is trying to do something about that. And I think that there's light disclosure coming. You know, they're attacking Pam Bondi, they're attacking Dan Bongino, and the enemy comes to destroy with confusion. He's the author of confusion. Well, God is the author and finisher of our faith. So we need to understand that we need to come together collectively as believers. And under what name you put Christ, it doesn't matter to me. What matters is the relationship that you have with Jesus Christ. And I believe that, although I've been attacked personally, I lost my wife. She bought me 17 shirts. She bought me all these patriotic shirts, but then attacks me in court. And you got to understand that when you're under the target, when the target is over you, you're probably doing what God wants you to do. Because he says to take up your cross and follow him. And I think the only thing that's going to win our country over is people that take up the cross and follow Christ, and they follow the truth no matter what attacks come. We get our strength from him. And I think that it's a daily process. Every day is renewed. The sun comes up on us every day. We got to understand that it's a new renewing of God's grace on us. So if I could put that into perspective, I would say that, you can watch mainstream news, but you can also see, as I didn't watch mainstream news years ago, and I got off Fox News and all that, I'm watching it now because I'm seeing that a lot of the things that were put down then and cast out and called conspiracies are coming to pass now. And I just think that, I was talking to another buddy that's trying to get me to do a podcast, and I'm getting ready to do it because I think that we can join together in podcasts and just kind of, they want to divide us. So we can't let them divide us any longer. We have to come together as a collective and figure out how to fight them. And the only way is not to say, okay, well, who's getting paid? They're getting paid by somebody because they got commercials, or they're doing really good and they're getting royalties. Let's not concern ourselves with that. Let's concern ourselves with the fact that the truth is aligning with the truth. And I think this is how we would defeat Satan, because I believe it's spiritual. I believe that this is a spiritual attack and has been ongoing for years. The money system, everything. All this talk about, cryptocurrency or, money back gold and everything. It's all confusing. As far as me, it's confusing for a person. But I can tell you that Q did say, that basically this system is going to end. The old guard's going to end. And they quote Bible verses. And I believe that those Q references are to let us know and give us peace that if we just follow the things that the Lord has taught us, if we follow the things that Trump is trying to tell us, he's not a perfect man. He's just a man, just like every other man. We're all just imperfect people. But the discernment that Christ gives us, or the discernment as Jeshua gives us, or whatever name you would have him be named, is the fact that he lives within us once we ask him in. And I think that is the whole fight that we're against, is the fact that he gets the glory in the end, and that we win with truth. And I think the more and more that truth gets out there, the more and more they lose. They lose
Amen.
the battle.
Amen. Thank you for that, Frog Senior. I appreciate it.
You're
Shadow,
welcome.
did you want to respond to that at all?
No, I think he was self-explanatory in what he said. I actually have a pretty cool announcement
We're
if you don't
we're
if I
there.
if
Yeah,
I
go
can.
for it, Shadow. Hold on,
So,
Cryptic or
so
Crypt
I
Q.
just I just received a message from if you guys are familiar with Ken O'Keefe. Anybody here familiar with Ken O'Keefe?
Yeah.
Not James O'Keefe. So he just agreed to do a spaces with me. So I'm gonna be doing my first spaces with Ken O'Keefe. So we're gonna talk about everything from the beginning, from the
That's
Rothschild
good.
family to how the deception of Israel, to the Epstein client list, to JFK, to Trump. So what's going on with our relationship with Israel today? So I've been in communication with him for the past 2 days. He just said he would agree to do it. So I'm very pumped for it. I hope a lot of you join me and just keep an eye on my channel for like the timings and stuff. It'll be my first time hosting a space. I've been a co-host and a speaker, so I don't know how that works, but I'm pumped. I can't wait. That's somebody I've been. When I told you guys my journey started from me listening into the music industry and researching the Illuminati stuff and all that. I used to listen to Ken O'Keefe back in the day. Like he was always speaking out against the Iraq war, and he was very like he brought the force. You know, he's a Marine, so he brings it, and he was just very stern with who he spoke to. He treated the news. He wasn't disrespectful, but he was just like a force to be reckoned with. So I'm very excited to have a one-on-one conversation with him, and I hope a lot of you can join us and just have a great conversation. And we'll probably have a question and answer, and I'm very excited for that.
You'll do great. Congratulations. So keep me posted when you create your space. Let me know. I'll post it out for you as well.
Thank you. I will probably just first I'm gonna probably just post it on my channel and then I'll let you know like exactly how it is.
Sounds good. All right. Okay, guys. Let's go. Crypt Q Santa. Go ahead. Your mic is unmuted.
Oh, crypto Santa, but I changed the O
Oh,
to
it's got
Q.
a Q. Okay, Crypto
Yeah,
Santa. Go
yeah,
ahead.
crypto. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good to be on with Ezra. I've been following him. He's one of I pop on these spaces. I've seen Tino's probably heard me before. I know he's heard me before. Alpha. But yeah, Ezra's my. I think I have like 6 notifications, and he's one of them. He's spot on the vast majority of what he posts, and like the speaker was saying before me, it's right now it's discernment. Right now it's the Great Awakening. It's pretty clear. I watch CNN and MSNBC regularly, and like he said, they're even exposing it now. So the way I've seen it over the last 4 years, it's like they've had everybody divided into each channel, each section, and it's been slowly kind of the knob's been turning to the truth, and we're right there. I think it's going to be a financial storm first. I think we are the storm, as Q states, and those that know the truth are going to be financially rewarded, and the financial reward also comes with having to share your blessings and your knowledge, because people are going to ask, how did you know this? And that's how things start to really get exposed, and the awakening exponentially grows. It's, most people are still asleep. It's mind-boggling to me, because I've been awake for a long time. It's just mind-boggling that people just literally have no clue what's going on. Even if you mention Bitcoin to someone, they barely know what it is. It's mind-boggling how this shift is going to occur, and it's pretty clear it's going to occur, but very few still are even aware of it. So that's why we're here. I think we are the calm within the storm. I think some of us have been incredible at discerning certain parts of the plan, like Ezra, the stuff he posts and how he gathers his information it just blows my mind. And I'm a big picture person. I just sit back and I follow certain people that have been spot on. Like there's DC. I was on with him last night. DC. I forget his full.
DC Draymond.
Drano, DC Drano.
No. DC Lidstone. He does Q decodes. Small. I think he's a small account. I mean, I don't think he's a big account. He's spot fucking on. He's one of my top 5, and you mix him with Ezra, it's not hard. It's pretty freaking easy, to be honest with you. It's obvious at this point. But I mean, I think it's getting so obvious because we're so close, and Bitcoin's about to break the all-time high potentially tonight, and we're going to see an acceleration up, and that's draining the fiat system. It's taking away the old guard. The old guard is going to be destroyed because they don't have the power over the money to control what they've controlled since 1913. It's freaking mind-boggling that we're here, and I have a story. I shared it last night. I don't need to go into it tonight, but at some point, hopefully we all get. Hopefully, the world comes to what I see, and it's literally a peaceful world because God is in control, not
Amen.
those that want to be or play God.
Amen.
And love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep talking, Ezra. That space that you're talking about sounds awesome. I'd love to at least listen in or be a part of it.
Yeah.
And God bless you guys.
Thank you, Crypto Santa.
I can't wait to do that spaces. I want to bring in the Q people with the It's the Jews people and just put everybody together and have a big party.
I love it. All right, we're gonna take this last question. Mike, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Mike, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hey guys, just wanted to thank you for having me first and foremost. Just hit a couple points, Santino. I like your idea of cutting out the middleman. I thought that was an intelligent point on a possible future occurrence. Shadow, you gave some great tips to Troy as far as telling him take it easy and take it slow.
Oh, we lost you, Mike. You might want to go out and come back in, Mike. We can't hear you. Can you hear him, Santino?
Nope, I can't hear him. I think we lost him.
Okay. All right, Shadow. Do you want to say anything to anybody? I think it was Crypto Santa. Do you want while we wait for Mike to come back in?
I mean, I could tell my own crypto story. I used to be more into crypto during the pandemic and stuff when I had more time. I was usually into. I used to listen to John McAfee a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Can
used
you
to
hear me?
be more into the private coins.
Mike, are you trying to say something? We lost you. Sorry, Shadow. Yeah, we can't hear you, Mike. Go ahead, Shadow.
Yeah, I was gonna just tell the audience that when I was into crypto, like before I was into posting news and stuff, I used to look into coins like Monero for like true privacy. I'm a very private person. Like I love when John McAfee used to tell me that Monero was like the true privacy coin. So I was into stuff like that. XMR is the three. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but if somebody has an opinion about what crypto you like, I wasn't into the other coins like XRP and stuff. I was more into just the private, the ones where nobody can see where your currency is going. That's what I was into. That's my personal.
I love it. Thank you, Shadow. All right, Mike. I'm gonna mute your mic again. So go ahead. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike. Your mic is unmuted.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was giving shadow props to Troy. Because you're right, you can't cast your pearls before swine. Also, it says to be wiser than the serpent and meeker than the dove. So, props to Shadow. Also, props on your future interview with Mr. O'Keefe. Congratulations on that. I can tell you're stoked about it. And then, Jenny, I like your 90-minute rule. The no fuss, no muss at 90, not about 90 minutes, 2 hours. You got to cut it off because you got to have balance in all things. But
That's right.
just to give me a background about myself, I'm on the outskirts of Atlanta, Georgia. My grandfather was in World War II. My dad was in Vietnam, and I had to play against that well. So we've all been overseas in my family, so we know that there's a war and a battle. But I think to stick to the topic of your revival of America, we just need to shed light upon others. First and foremost, love our Father and try to lift each other's up. I mean, with the way capitalism is it's like you got to stomp on your neighbor's neck sometimes just to make a dollar. But um, hedging into a fall on the paper trail, I think it could possibly go to crypto. I mean, if you look back in history, I believe it was Ronald Reagan or Lyndon B. Johnson that went away from the gold standard, and they came and scooped up all the gold. So there's been some big currency changeovers in the past, and I don't know if crypto is still in here, but I've got some big gains on crypto, Bitcoin, and XRP to be specific. But I just wanted to thank you guys for.
We're losing you again, Mike.
I think we lost him again.
Yeah, we want to thank you for your service and your family. So God bless you, Mike. Hopefully, we'll see you in another one of my spaces. Everybody, Shadow of Ezra, do you have any final thoughts? I would love to get you back in here, my friend. Do
Yeah,
another show.
yeah. It was great talking to all of you guys, and just wanted to touch up on the topic. It says revival of America. There is no revival of America without a revival of yourself, and you can't revive yourself. And if I had one honest spiritual advice for everybody in this chat, in this space, is if you have parents, take care of them and be sincere to them. If you don't have parents, pray for them. If you have a problem with your parents, make peace with them. I'm leaving it at that.
Amen. What great final thoughts. I love that. What about you, Santino? And then Alpha, you can go ahead.
I just want everybody to know that we are at an epic moment right now, epic times. Everybody should be really happy. We have President Trump here giving us everything that he signed us up for. Promises made, promises kept. Today, the no tax on tips. He just introduced that. It went through and everything else. I mean, we should be really happy. Keep your head on a swivel and stay positive. Stay out of those spaces or those areas where people are bringing it down. You got to stay up. Light, light, light. We need to ascend. We need to be happy. We need to know that we're going in the right direction. We got the guy in the house right now doing what we want, and it's just epic time. So I want everybody to stay positive, 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 positive. Ascension is so important, and I think we're great. And Jenny, thank you so much for having me as a co-host. I always appreciate spending my time with you and everybody else. Thank you so much.
I love that you're here. Thank you for co-hosting with me as well. And Mr. Alpha. Alpha's going to be on with me tomorrow, guys, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So be there or be square. Go ahead, Alpha.
Yeah, just want to say great space and definitely appreciate the conversations. And I will see everybody tomorrow.
All right. And Shadow of Ezra, once again, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to message you in the background. We'll get you back on here. And everybody, thanks for being here. Come tomorrow. We will have Alpha on at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over here on X. Silk from the Diamond and Silk Show will be here at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we're going to have John Baxter from Anti-Aging MedBed over on my Telegram page at I think it's 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So with that, everybody, you guys have a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Santino. Thanks, Alpha. Thanks, Shadow of Ezra. Thanks for being here.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.